IdeaNAV. Let's please give her a round of applause.
Okay. All right, I think I'm going to
Pass on this.
I'm going to pass on the mic. So I'm Marguerite Johnson. I'm the co-founder of the Nextish. We are an AI innovation software pre-seed startup located in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. We are venture ready, and I hope after you see our presentation, you'll see how and why. So I developed IdeaNAV with a focus on reducing 3 major barriers. These 3 major barriers are for startups all the way to corporations: a lack of knowledge, complex innovation processes, and expensive innovation software. So with IdeaNAV, you can eliminate those 3 and lower the cost of innovation so you can test before you invest. So I spent 18 years in corporate innovation. I'm a published author. I'm a 4-time patent inventor with 2 patents on algorithms pending. And I have seen the frustration of when innovation goes wrong. And some of these headlines you've probably seen too. How many corporations fail to launch projects? How many startups that don't necessarily make the cut? How many businesses fail to innovate and die? Innovation is failing for everyone. 90% of the startups don't have a viable idea. 80% of corporate pilots fail miserably. So why are we still investing in them? And I'm talking about a lot of money. $85 billion invested for 2024 in startups. And when we talk about AI, trillions. So with all of that money on the table and with all of that potential, we should be testing before we invest. I think so. I mean, to make a good business case, you should actually spend some time validating the idea and understanding if it actually has value before you put this kind of dough on the table. There's a better way. So I talked about the 3 barriers that basically inhibit startups, entrepreneurs, corporations, small to mid-sized businesses from innovating. IdeaNAV eliminates all 3. And it works. So if you have time, you can go to our site, ideanavigator.sit, and you can see a business case from a chemical company that I was awarded 3 patents using this framework before I coded it. In addition to that business case, you'll also notice that I wrote this lovely book. I don't recommend you read it unless you're an innovation geek like myself, but it includes a diagram that outlines the strategic growth framework that I based IdeaNAV on. So not only corporations and startups, we can impact risk capital, nonprofit entrepreneur programs, government municipalities, their entrepreneur programs, as well as university tech transfer offices. That full scope of partner ecosystems can benefit from the use of IdeaNAV to lower the cost of innovation, to remove those 3 barriers that inhibit growth. How does it work? So I'm often asked the question, how do you get some idea validated? Like, what is the process? So there are 2 fields to start a project in IdeaNAV. It uses natural language processing to take those 2 fields, those descriptions of your project, and as you complete the phases, it gets better. So the context is basically hardened within the framework, and we use AI integration to give you research, to give you analysis, and to give you suggestions. This software is different than any other software you're seeing on the market because it is not just product focused. Oftentimes you'll get an innovation product focused app or innovation that wants to give you just one thing. IdeaNAV takes you from product to service, platform business model, all the way to radical transformation and partner ecosystem. So it scales with your business. So if you're just starting with a project and a product, you use phase A. As soon as you're ready to adjust your business model, you go back in the app, you update it. The reason why IdeaNAV works not only because it has these guardrails using a trusted process, but also it allows you to stop, start, and pause, to iterate. You can't do that with ChatGPT. You know, some people say, well, why can't I just put my idea in ChatGPT and do deep research? Well, you can, but now you need a workflow to hold your place in your idea as it develops. You don't have to worry about that with this. It holds your place, it holds your context, and it guides you. There are 3 big actions that you can take away. Implementation plan or phase. Shareable, collaborative snapshots. And monthly alerts. We all know what it means to have your heads down working on a project, and by the time you look up, there are 6 competitors that you didn't remember, or you didn't even think about, right? So idea alerts give you a monthly report on your idea.
30 seconds.
We're subscription-based, and I want to invite you all to our next event, November 14th. It is here in Ann Arbor, not here in Bamboo, but it's in Ann Arbor. So if you would like to use IdeaNAV Live to work on your project specifically, we'll be doing that here on November 14th. Thank you. Sure.
Yeah, I work in a lot of innovation, and I found that the bigger the company, the more globalized it is, and the bigger the issues are, more politics and bureaucracy rather than how you get innovation through. And it's more about risk mitigation. That hey, let's just do it because we can show our shareholders we're doing something, and then boost the share value, then cut it off.
So what you're describing is what we call innovation theater. We do it for shareholders. We put the buzzwords out, AI and everything else, right? The challenge, I think, that corporations face, the biggest one, is they are tied to innovation licenses. So the people who could innovate, they're behind a desk, they're in the field, they are, maybe co-located at a customer site. And so if you're not tagged as an innovation person inside the corporation, you don't get a seat license. But with IdeaNAV, there's no integration, it's a standalone product, and granting anyone access, of course, with permission, you can basically unlock crowdsourcing. And it's going to validate your idea not only for the growth, but also for the business potential, identifying the risk. It's going to give you recommendations on the partners and maybe some return on investment, some research you can do. You can come to your boss with a complete implementation plan. And that's something that a lot of the innovation software doesn't have, because it leans on the innovation process of the corporation to do that work. And oftentimes, like you say, it's innovation theater, so it's never intended to work. Yeah, it's a broken thing. I've lived this life.
Say I pause, and in that pausing time, how does this app keep abreast of what's happening with your competitors that aren't really, like, for instance, say I'm working on an idea, and normally I'm reading every morning and I'm checking up on all my competitors and what their ideas are and what's happening that could help me. I mean, how does the app know, like, if I paused, that, say I'm not doing theater, it's really me, and I've got stuff that I want to get done. How does that happen?
So you pause, but IdeaNAV has not.
Okay.
So inside, depending on what level of subscription you have a pre-configured Idea Alert, which uses specific fields inside of Idea Alert to monitor the content that you put in.
So the monitors are the research groups that I want them to monitor?
Correct.
Okay.
But if you have a more...
And the feeds, like the feeds.
Yes, or you can have a more premium, because maybe you're focused this month on a certain thing. So you can pre-configure the fields that you want it to monitor. Maybe next month you have a different objective. You change the configuration. But that's for our enterprise level and for our premium level. For the basic and the professional, it's already pre-configured, based on my coded fields that I look for specific product and service focus and business model focus. Yeah. So you're sleeping, IdeaNAV's working.
Thank you.
Come on, you guys. All right.
I got a question. So you're having businesses feed in maybe a problem or a certain sector that they want to work on. and you're having it with your expertise that you put on the language model, but you're relying on the language model to analyze and create suggestions. How are you guys handling, or what's your vision for handling the hallucinations that happen with language?
So, back up. We'll back up a little bit, okay? So it uses natural language to process what you put in first. As you complete the fields, it's learning from what you complete. Now we know foundational models hallucinate because they don't have parameters and guardrails. This software is structured, so it is not going to hallucinate outside of how it's designed. It's not going to hallucinate outside of the parameters that are coded, for it to look for, right? So we've basically found that the more information you put in, the more fields you complete, the more enriched the suggestions you get, the more enriched analysis you get, and the better the alerts you get, right? Because if you don't put anything in the fields, can't really give you much, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I had two more hands, but.
Yeah, so you have an interesting background. Do you have a technical team that's building this? I guess what's your implementation plan look like?
So we're live, right? I coded it. I have a technical co-founder that is going to help me build, help me build out the entire platform so that we can get all of these folks who are currently locked out all in one space. So right now with IdeaNAV, we are focused on the direct-to-consumer side, but to get to this other side, the white label side, we need partners who have specialty, for instance, in compliance for healthcare. If we wanted to do innovation for healthcare, if we wanted to do innovation for fintech, there's a compliance aspect. And so we're hoping that we'll get white label partners who have expertise in certain spaces and customize, to adapt to these specifics. But on the direct-to-consumer side, she's ready. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess two questions.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Number one is, how do you help this innovation process? I guess it's a bad question, but ideas in business tend, if they're available, they tend to solve problems, right? How do you help your engine build, form that problem for the user? Ignore that question if you don't want, but the other question
No, I want to dig into that because that's the only field you have to complete. The other ones you can get suggestions.
So you have to formulate your own problem?
You formulate your own problem. You basically, there's only two fields to create a project, the title and the description. So in the description field you say, hey, Angelia, I'm going to use I'm looking for ideas on how to improve the health of women from 35 to 65 with perimenopause who may be suffering from weight, frustration, depression.
Right.
I'm targeting US customers, right? So I'm putting this in the description. It uses that in order to inform the fields that you complete inside the tool. It uses that to give you suggestions. Now, sometimes people say, well, couldn't you just chat GPT the whole thing? I would not suggest that, BT dubs, right? You are still the owner of your idea, and you should have a good understanding of what you want to accomplish with your idea. It's only there to aid and to help you. It's not there to populate it for you.
So then, just follow up real quick. And in what way does this app improve my formulation of my business problem? I promise that's the end.
No, so
In what way this app helps me sharpen the formulation of my business problems or any aspect of the problem?
I'm gonna take me to, here. Okay, so I know this looks busy. I was warned about this. Roger warned me. But let's take this one because you can see these tabs at the bottom. The other ones you can't see the tabs. So in this phase, right, it helps you by putting criteria inside of each one of these tabs to usher you to tell you what you should be asking, how you should ask it, and where your gaps of knowledge are. Oftentimes I find that when people are doing an innovation, they don't know enough to know when they don't know something. And so this structure helps you. Maybe you thought of 3 things, but it's got 7. Maybe your informed opinion, the suggestion comes out completely different. You could accept it, you can edit it, or you can cancel it. So it's intended to, this is intended to give you the structure, to show you the roadmap of what good looks like, but it's ultimately up to the decision maker how much they take in.
All right, nicely done.